Have you ever found yourself forcing down a bitter kale smoothie, grimacing with each sip, convincing yourself that it's doing wonders for your health? You're not alone. For years, we've been told that eating dark, leafy greens, no matter how unpleasant they taste, is the secret to good health. But have you ever stopped to question why we've accepted the idea that bitter, often nutrient-poor foods are the best choice for our bodies? The truth is, this belief didn't come about naturally. It was the result of decades of social engineering and corporate influence. But now, with the rise of the carnivore movement, the narrative around plant-based foods is being challenged, and a new perspective on health is emerging. The rise of the idea that bitter greens like kale, arugula, and collard greens are health food powerhouses didn't happen overnight. In fact, much of it was influenced by corporate interests, government dietary guidelines, and cultural pressures that gradually embedded the idea into our minds. In the 1980s and 1990s, low-fat diets were promoted as the answer to heart disease, cholesterol, and obesity. As part of this shift, leafy greens and vegetables were pushed into the spotlight, particularly dark leafy greens, which were praised for their fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants. But there's a catch. These greens also contain anti-nutrients like oxalates and goitrogens, which can interfere with nutrient absorption and harm thyroid function. Despite these downsides, the message that bitter greens are essential for health became deeply ingrained, promoted by celebrities, health influencers, and corporate marketing campaigns. At the heart of the push for bitter greens lies a deeply ingrained cultural message: sacrifice is virtuous. We've been conditioned to believe that to be healthy, we must give up the pleasure of eating tasty foods and endure bitter, bland tastes in the name of discipline and control. The idea that eating foods like kale or choking down a bitter green juice is somehow noble became widely accepted. This message is a form of social engineering, where cultural and societal influences shape our behaviors and beliefs about food. Marketing campaigns from the food industry played a crucial role, convincing us that by eating these less palatable foods, we were making healthier, smarter choices. The underlying message was clear: health requires sacrifice, and if food tastes too good, it must be bad for you. But let's think critically. Why should we be enduring bitter greens to achieve good health? The truth is, we don't need to. The widespread belief in bitter greens as a health staple overlooks a crucial aspect of nutrition: bioavailability and nutrient density. While vegetables may contain vitamins and minerals, they aren't always in the most absorbable forms. Take iron, for example. The iron found in spinach, non-heme iron, is far less bioavailable than the iron found in animal products, heme iron, meaning your body struggles to absorb it effectively. Bitter greens also contain anti-nutrients like oxalates, which bind to calcium and prevent its absorption, and goitrogens, which interfere with thyroid function. These compounds reduce the overall nutrient value of these foods, making them less effective than they're often portrayed. In contrast, animal products provide nutrients in their most bioavailable form. Meat, eggs, and dairy are rich in complete proteins, essential fats, and fat-soluble vitamins, like A, D, E, and K2, critical nutrients that our bodies can easily absorb and utilize. Why were bitter greens so heavily marketed as the solution to better health, when nutrient-dense animal foods offer superior nutrition? The answer lies in a combination of social, corporate, and political forces that helped shape the idea that plant-based foods are the right way to nourish our bodies, even though animal-based foods are actually richer in the nutrients we need. The push for bitter greens and plant-based diets has often been influenced by the food industry. As consumer preferences shifted toward plant-based eating, food corporations seized the opportunity to profit from the trend. Take kale, for instance. It went from being a simple garnish to a superfood, thanks to clever marketing strategies. Suddenly, bitter greens were everywhere, in juices, smoothies, salads, and chips. The narrative around these foods shifted from healthy to superfood, making them appear like the ultimate key to good health. At the same time, government dietary guidelines continued to emphasize plant-heavy diets, further reinforcing the idea that plant foods were essential for good health, regardless of the drawbacks they posed. The result? We were sold the idea that bitter, nutrient-poor greens were essential for health, while the nutrient-dense foods that humans evolved to thrive on, meat, eggs, and animal fats, were demonized. But now, the carnivore movement is challenging this long-standing narrative. Carnivore advocates argue that plant foods, especially bitter greens, are unnecessary and even counterproductive for optimal health. Instead, they emphasize the importance of nutrient-dense animal products, which provide the body with all the essential nutrients it needs without the interference of anti-nutrients. As the carnivore diet grows in popularity, it forces people to question their long-held beliefs about food. After all, those following a carnivore diet often report significant health benefits, including better digestion, more energy, mental clarity, and even relief from autoimmune conditions, all without the need for so-called superfoods, like kale or spinach. This shift in thinking is prompting people to challenge the notion that bitter is better, and reconsider the role of taste and satisfaction in their diets. If your body can thrive on delicious, nutrient-dense foods like steak, butter, and eggs, why should you force yourself to choke down bitter greens? The rise of carnivore diets is helping to undo the social engineering that led us to believe bitter greens were essential for good health. As more people experience the benefits of eating animal-based foods, it's becoming clear that we don't need to endure unpleasant, bitter foods to achieve optimal health. In fact, focusing on satiating, nutrient-dense animal products may be a far better option for nourishing our bodies without the drawbacks of anti-nutrients. The rise of carnivore diets shows that animal foods can provide superior nutrition in a more satisfying and natural way. True health doesn't have to come at the cost of enjoyment or taste. The belief that bitter greens are good for us is a product of decades of social engineering, shaped by corporate influence, marketing, and misguided health advice. But as more people discover the benefits of the carnivore diet, this narrative is starting to fall apart. Animal foods, long demonized, are now being recognized for their superior nutrient density and ability to promote health without the need for bitter, nutrient-poor plants. It's time to rethink what we've been told about food and health. You don't need to suffer through bitter greens to be healthy. Your body can thrive on foods that are rich in nutrients and taste great, without the burden of unnecessary sacrifice. The carnivore movement is showing us that true health doesn't have to come at the expense of pleasure, and it's changing the way we think about nutrition for good. Now, if you're ready to rethink the superfood narrative and start focusing on the real powerhouses of nutrition, it's time to consider the carnivore diet. Take control of your health by choosing foods that are not only nutrient-dense, but also naturally satisfying. If you're ready for a diet change that supports both your body and your taste buds, look no further than animal-based nutrition. Start making the switch today and feel the difference.